Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now we will move on to the next agenda, which is discussions. But before that, let me greet our audience online. Good evening. Welcome to Ad America, the U.S. Embassy American Center, with me, Farah, as your e-guide today. Our talk today entitled Animating Unity, Empowering Cross-Cultural Dialogue and Collaboration in Film, where today we will unravel the threads of cross-cultural dialogue woven into the film that fosters global conversation, transcending borders, and celebrates the richness of diverse storytelling in cinema. But before we begin our special discussion today, let us hear the opening remarks from Jonathan Habian, Counselor for Economic Affairs from U.S. Embassy Jakarta. To Pak Jonathan Habian, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and selamat malam semua, selamat datang ke Ad America. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here again to see you all. Did everyone enjoy the film? Did everybody get to see the film? Yeah, it's a great film. Yeah, unfortunately, I have to put these on getting up in my years here, but the fortunate thing actually of getting a little older is that you really appreciate how far animation has come. Just in my lifetime, I think when I was a kid, we watched Bambi and Snow White and movies like this, which were great, but boy, this is just a beautiful, beautiful film, right? It's just, how far we've come is just amazing over the years. So we here at the U.S. Embassy are really pleased to host this event and to have the opportunity to bring together people from all aspects of the film industry, from filmmakers and festival organizers, studios, and film schools to key partners in the Indonesian government. And so we hope that the reception we had was a nice way for us to just get to meet some of you, and I think we all really appreciated that opportunity. This event also wouldn't be possible without the partnership with Walt Disney Animation Studios, who have worked with us for the Raya and the Last Dragon screenings. And we're lucky to have with us Dr. Steve Arounsack, who will be talking with us on the panel a little bit later, along with Deputy Minister Bu Made from the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, as well as Dr. Eki Imanjaya. Yeah, so welcome to all of you, and we look forward to hearing from you later. So this program comes near the end of a week-long film research tour and study focused on educational and skills-building program that took the film Raya and the Last Dragon and its lead cultural advisor and visual anthropologist, Steve Arounsack, to 5 cities across Indonesia. Over the last week, he has led professional discussions and workshops on a range of topics for film students and industry professionals in Batam, Surabaya, Semarang, Kudus, and now Jakarta. So, hopefully he'll share some of those experiences on the panel today. I think, he certainly has gotten a warm welcome throughout Indonesia. As you may have seen in the news, President Jokowi was in Washington, D.C. this week, and he met President Biden. So the two presidents announced that we've elevated the relationship between the United States and Indonesia to what we call a comprehensive strategic partnership, which is a lot of fancy words, but comprehensive means that it encompasses a wide range of different issues, ranging from climate change to trade to cybersecurity. But it also includes it also includes creative economy, right? So one of the things we've been talking with Indonesia about is how we can foster better connections between the United States and Indonesia on issues ranging, in creative economy can mean things from, tourism to video games to clothing to what we're talking about tonight, which is film. And between two countries of the size of the United States and Indonesia, with so many creative people present, we really think there are fantastic opportunities to work together. So the program tonight also highlights the U.S. government's support for Indonesia's creative economy, which is where we're looking to expand cooperation by building a stronger network of industry stakeholders within film and animation production, so that people get to know each other and build some of those connections. So we hope that through skills building, encouraging more incentives in the film industry, right? To encourage our companies to come here, and strong intellectual property rights to support the creators of content both here in Indonesia and in the United States, that the growth of our two film industries can continue and provide mutual benefits to each other. So together, U.S. media and entertainment companies and the U.S. government can partner toward creating meaningful and sustainable benefits for Indonesia and the region at large, and support the development of a thriving and dynamic creative communities. We can do this through public-private partnerships to support the upskilling in the creative and business side of the film industry, and also online content development and cultural and educational projects that promote connections between Indonesia, the United States, and its different companies. So earlier this week, I was talking to someone here about the Indonesian film industry and about it, and he was telling me about how Indonesia, with its great diversity, 17,000 islands and numerous languages and so forth, contains multitudes of stories and has a rich history of storytelling. It would be great through partnership with the United States and the nation of Bawang Merah, Bawang Putih, we could bring the next generation of Indonesian stories to audiences not just here, but around the world, and in a manner through film that may be different from the way some of these stories have been presented in the past. With that, I'll stop talking and I'll let you get to the experts who can actually talk authoritatively about this topic. So I'd like to turn it over to the moderator to introduce the panelists and get down to the discussion. So let me just say again that film and animation is a super important industry. As an economic counselor, it's an important trade issue, but it's also a creative way to bring people together between two cultures. So I think it's a really great opportunity that we have here, and look forward to hearing from our panelists tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the opening remarks, Pak Jonathan Habian, as the Counselor for Academic Affairs from U.S. Embassy, Jakarta. And now, I would like to invite our moderator for today's talk. She is currently working as news anchor in CNN Indonesia, former journalist in Net Media Tama Televisi, and former at America Guide. Everyone, please welcome Kak Mayfri Syari.
Hi everyone. Hello, how are you? Hope we all doing great tonight, because we're going to talk about something that is actually important and it can also be beneficial for our country. So first of all, let me introduce myself. Thank you for letting me be here. I always say that it always feels good to be back here because I feel like I'm home. Okay, my name is Mayfri Syari. Now I'm working at CNN Indonesia as a news anchor. And I would like to invite our speakers for tonight. But before that, I would like to inform you that we're going to have a discussion first. So I'll ask some questions to our speakers. But then after that, you also get to ask our speakers. So we will have a Q&A session. So during the discussion, if you have some question, you can write it down and then you can ask later during the Q&A session. Okay, I will invite our speaker for tonight's talk show. The first one, of course, he's been doing some road show, as it mentioned by Pak Jonathan earlier. He went to Batam, he went to Semarang, is it? And also now in Jakarta. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Steve Arounsack. He's a visual anthropologist. Please have a seat, Pa. Pa Steve. Okay, I'll also sit here. Kind of nervous a little bit. He is an award-winning professor, filmmaker, and with the experience for over 30 years, right? So it's just same as my age.
So I feel old, thank you.
No worries, Pa. Okay, and then you also professor of cultural anthropology California State University, Stanislaus, USA. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and later on, we're going to talk more about your movie, Raya and the Last Dragon, that we just watched earlier. But Pastif is not going to be alone in here because I would like to invite another speakers. Please give a big round of applause for Bu Nimada Ayu Martini, Deputy Minister of Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Republic of Indonesia. So I have to mention this because Bu Ayu has become the awardee of top 3 ya Bu, Indonesia's Best Civil Servant Award, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Republic of Indonesia. Please have a seat, Bu. And the last one, but not least, Pak Eki Imanjaya. Please give him a big round of applause as well. He is a member and also former chairman of the film committee of Jakarta Arts Council. And he is also an alum of AVLP, right, Pak? Yeah, International Visitor Leadership Program on Film Industry of the USA. So we have 3 speakers in here. Can I have another applause for them? Kind of nervous a little bit in here. Okay. We all watched the movie, but before we to start this discussion, I would like to ask Pasti first. Tell us more about how did you manage to produce this movie?
Wow. So this is a big task when somebody asks you to make a movie that includes 700 million people, 11 countries. It can be a daunting task and a big challenge, right? But we have to flip our thinking to thinking that it's an opportunity. Of course there's challenges, but this is a huge opportunity. And for us, we thought of every culture, every country as this star. A star is individual, but when we see that these stars are connected to other stars, we have a constellation. And constellations are brighter than any one star. So I think as a region, we shine brighter when we see the connections to each other.
We know that this movie is the first Disney animated movie that is focused on Southeast Asia, right? We all know that Southeast Asia is very broad, and when we're talking about the culture, it's kind of like sensitive and stuff like that. How do you manage to make sure that nothing is going to, violent any culture and stuff like that?
So I'm one person out of a 400-member team. So we always have to think about us as having really a larger team that's always behind us. Any one of us up here or there, we have a team behind us. Nobody ever does it alone. For me, it was a Southeast Asia Story Trust. And for Indonesia, you got to think of it as like a big, wonderful, diverse family. That's how we think of our family when we're in the production. So to have all of these different diverse skill sets and knowledge bases, that helps us cover a lot of ground. But that's only because when we rely on each other and trust in each other to be experts in our field. And so I think just thinking all of us as a collective team, that really helps us to mitigate a lot of these potential errors.
Okay, there must be like lots of challenges that you faced earlier, right? What kind of challenges that you face, and how do you and your team manage to handle that?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember March of 2020, COVID.
Yeah, COVID-19.
Yes.
Remind us and please don't come
So,
back.
yeah, March 2020. So we were in production, right in the middle of production. We were we may have been the first, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we may have been the first animated feature film to be done at home, was Raya. The team had to bring their work at home. I had to stay back at home as well. So that was a big challenge technically. But I think beyond the technical aspects, I think we always felt a responsibility. We knew that once the film was released, that we would have to be responsible to everybody here in Southeast Asia. And I think that's always a challenge and a responsibility. But I think, again, if you flip your thinking, as long as we created a film that served as an invitation to learn more, I always felt like that was a victory. So if you watch the film and you want to learn more about Southeast Asia, I think that's a victory.
Okay, that's a picture. And we all want to learn more about Southeast Asia, right? After watching the movie. Is that correct? Yeah. I personally want to travel more after watching the movie, though. Okay, moving on to Bu Ayu. Bu Ayu, when we're talking about this kind of movie, it must give some effect to the collaboration between Indonesia and also the US. How do the Ministry of um Tourism and Creative Economy see that?
Yeah. First of all, let me thank the U.S. Embassy for inviting me, the Ad America, and great to see Dr. Steve Arounsack and also Pairi for the opportunity. Well, first of all, of course, we are proud, right? And congratulations for such an amazing piece of collaboration, I would say, right? You said 700 million people in Southeast Asia into one. That's difficult. And without making any sort of like insensitivity that creates some kind of wariness, you know, because culture sometimes can be very sensitive, right? But at the same time, something also can unite us because you see, oh, that looks like Indonesian. Oh no, but that's from Thailand. It's very possible because that's ASEAN. We created all the way back 100 years ago from one, you know, family, basically. So for us, we embrace this, we support this, we want to support and also make sure that the beauty of ASEAN culture, in this regards Indonesian in particular, because I'm speaking on behalf of Indonesia, to be known over there. Because I think ASEAN, in spite of the growth, yeah, the source of growth, in any senses, be it trade, democracy, creativity, are still unknown, you know. I mean, the biggest unknown region in the world, and this is too bad, right? So we should do more of this. So I'm glad Disney, with collaboration with American Film Showcase and many others, I'm glad also Dr. Steve Runsak traveling around Indonesia, and you see it, not that this is first time for you, but you see it even more, because I think for Indonesia, I mean, being in Indonesia, I mean, I think all of you know, and obviously from the embassy also, see the growth, the development, the creativity of the country is just remarkable. That's why Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, I mean, we had a law even on creative economy. Not many countries has this. Why? Because one of the pillars here, one of the aim or objective of the law is to make sure that we develop the creative economy, and the IP part, intellectual property, is very important. I mean, yes, we do have talented people, but if they create, they cannot be innovator, right? We need to innovate, not only made in or made of or to make, but also to create, to innovate. And this is something I think US has the expertise much advanced. We need to collaborate even more. And that's why Indonesia plays very active role in the world, in the creative economy relationship, yeah. We own what we call creative economy world conference, yeah, and one of them is to make sure that creative economy is part of the policy, mainstreaming creative economy in the policy of the government, because we believe a creative economy brings not only job, but also prosperity of the people. So for the past 3 years, we've been proponent of this. We own this every other year. We do the conference, the summit in Indonesia, and then the next year is in 2 years after in other country. So we hope, and this is bear fruit, I think, and this is hopefully one of them. But of course, there are a lot of homework coming up, but maybe I think that's for a different topic. Thank you so much.
That's what I'm going to ask to you. Aside from what you just mentioned, do you have any like 5 or 10 years goals to support the like film industry in Indonesia when we're talking about that?
Yes, definitely. Number one, yes, we do have creativity, as I said earlier, but we do, excuse me, we do also need to make sure the IP, the intellectual property, owns by this creator, right, the innovator, because we thought that you cannot increase or what we call in Indonesia naik kelas, right? To jump up to the level up, to the next level. That's one. Secondly, talent, human resources. There's a big gap from what I think, Steve, you see from the roadshow that you meet. I believe you went to Malang also, or Surabaya. Surabaya, right? In Malang, there is a CEC, or special economic zones for creative economy, for movies. When I went there, I mean, it's good that these special economic zones focus on education and training, yeah, but also business at the same time. At the end of the day, they are business entity, right? They need investor, they need business, but at the same time, where can they find these talents, Yes, they are out there, but to level up, there is a gap there. And this is something huge. I think education becomes important, plus vocational, because, I mean, you know better than I do, this is very technical, this is very high skill, and this is why Indonesian government love to work together, collaborate, because we believe by collaboration, we learn something without being dictated. You have to transfer technology to us. No, right? This is something the US will not be in line with that, but we work together, we can get that talents or skills or ecosystem, right? Thirdly, I think market. Market is something we have, yeah, you name it. Anything, Coldplay last night, 80,000 people, I was one of them, watching it, market, right? So music, game, Mobile Legend, if I may, to mention the games online, we are the biggest. And tomorrow, and until Sunday, there is a big Mobile Legend conference or a competition here, like movies, blah, blah, blah. So how can we make sure this market become an asset for Indonesia? We want to grow together with our trading partners. So how to do it? Again, back to collaboration. I think we thought that I don't think because this is dynamic, right? The US needs market beyond the US or a sphere, but you need also to go to Asia and so on. That's 3 or 4. The last one, probably, what else? Yeah, I think that's enough. Too much for 5. I'll come back. So I think those are a few. I think what we have in mind. But probably, if I may, lastly, on how to create this ecosystem. Yeah, movie, for example. Yeah, movie, for example. I understand movie making process is not merely on business. Jim Philippatos told me about this. Not only about creation or art or substance, but it's business. So when Hollywood, Bollywood, what else? South Korea, Korean wave, wanted to make movies in Indonesia, they say, okay, do you have tax incentive? Or do you have, Ibu Made, do you have tax rebate, for example? This is something that government can play roles into it. Otherwise, yes, they will come because Indonesia is beautiful, Indonesia is efficient, is cheap. Nothing wrong with cheap, like best value for money, I should say. But then others offer better. So they go to other countries. So this is something that government at the moment, through Ministry of Tourism, I was one of the proponents to push this. I think we have to realize that we are in the industry, yeah, not purely on culture in terms of showcase or protection of culture, but this is an industry. How to make sure that the balance of between culture and also the business side that can go hand in hand. But I have to underline, we need to protect and respect the culture itself, not to commercialize it. So I think that's already 5. That I fulfill my homework.
The things that you need to fulfill, yeah. And the other one, I guess, you also have to make sure that the security of the process can go smoothly, because sometimes people will think that it's not easy to make film in Indonesia and stuff like that, right?
Perhaps the permit. The
Ah, okay.
permit, I think, okay. One is the financial support. The other one is the permit. I do realize, based on the feedback from many, that this is something that we need to work out a little bit. But the good news is that only last week, yeah, PFN, Produksi Film Negara, and us, Ministry of Tourism, collaborate to launch a platform, an apps actually, for film location. Finally, yeah. But this is still limited. Only the asset of BUMN or state-owned enterprises that they manage. For example, airport. If somebody wants to film a movie in the airport, they can go there, they see the price. How much is per day? Who's the PIC, the person in charge? And then what can you get? But then if you need a hotel, if you need maybe catering, they can help also. I think this is great. It can be a game changer in the future if they add more and more. So please, if you don't know yet, the apps is
or the website book?
IFFA, Indonesia Film Facilitation. What is the A? I think FA, the small any later, yeah, facilitation. So I think this is great. I think this. I think they need to make a press release also. I will ask Pak Dwi, the CEO, to issue a press release so then everyone knows about this. So yeah, mungkin
It can also make the work easier, ya Pak.
exactly, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, Pak Eki really want to add something about that. Pak Eki, where are we now when we're talking about the film industry, especially when we're talking about the cultural film industry, especially in Indonesia? Do you want to add some?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank American Embassy and thank you for having me here. It's been a long time since I was here. Yeah, and yesterday my daughter was here watching the movies and doing the clay workshop. Yeah, and my name is Eki Manjaya from Film Department at Binus University, and tomorrow Dr. Arounsack will be in Binus Alam Sutra for an event organized by animation department. So it's a cycle, film department and animation. So hopefully it's, yeah. Okay, last night I was in Festival Film Indonesia as one of the juries, yeah. And we have here Lola Amaria, one of the award-winning Citra for documentary, yeah. And watching the movies, I think it's a big improvement, yeah, because we are getting, we are no longer Jakarta-centric, yeah, because there are some films with the set from Eastern Indonesia,
Rote?
like Papua, Rote, and then Makassar and so on. So it's nice, it's a big improvement. And the second one, this is interesting, I want to add something for Bu Ayu, because I'm also at Jakarta Film Jakarta Art Council, yeah. And currently, for the last 3 months, we are guarding for an event or a project called Jakarta Film Commission. So for those who doesn't know, in Indonesia there are like 9 or 10 film commissions, yeah, all over Indonesia, Jogja, Siak, Bandung and so on, but not in Indonesia and not in Jakarta. And we have some forum group discussions and then public lecture and so on. So hopefully for Jakarta provincial area, I think we are getting there. So like the permit and so I need to talk later for the apps, because it's we will have like one door, how do you call it? One door policy. Yeah.
To make
So,
everything easier.
Yeah,
Pak.
because one of the inspiration is the New York Film Commission. Yeah. When it's very easy, I want this building, I want that building, and it's free of charge, unless if it's for some requirements, we need to pay something, but most of the time it's free of charge with the police, the security and so on. That's we will try to modify in Jakarta.
Pak Eki, Bu Ayu mentioned earlier about the talent, how important the talent and also the skill and stuff like that to improve the quality of the movie industry, film industry, especially when we're talking about the cultural film thingy. How is the condition right now? Do we have enough talent, or how is it now?
The problem is, one of the problem is we have around 12, 13 film programs all over Indonesia. We have
Okay.
association of film departments, yeah. So we have so many students and alumni. The thing is how to get to the industry. On the other side, the industry needs talent, so it's something missing,
Okay.
yeah.
The gap.
Yeah, something the gap, but they need like gaffers or related to the lighting man or something like that. Not the producer. We have so many producers, directors, or scriptwriters, but not the other profession. So I think we need to sit together and discuss how to work these things out. Yeah.
Okay.
But related to cross-cultural dialogue and collaboration, I think it's important to mention that in our curriculum, yeah, and as well as in I think in many film schools, yeah, we also need to make a habit for film research, yeah, film research, because both in Indonesia or in U.S. there are some films with stereotyping, and then in the U.S. there are some like whitewashing and so on, yeah. But with proper research, and I'm glad that Raya and The Last Dragon involve Southeast Asian talents, right? Like the scriptwriters and the voice over. Yeah, that's nice, because we need to have research on the local cultures, yeah, the local wisdom, not only by the text, but also with the people who experience daily. Yeah, so I think it's nice to do that. So it will erase the stereotyping, and because if we talk about Hollywood or Disney and Asia, many of people always talk about either South Asian countries or China or East, yeah, the Chinese, Japanese, Hong Kong, and so on. So it's nice to have
Southeast
yeah, in
Asia,
Southeast Asia.
cultural
Although
movie.
there are some criticism, but I think it's in one way it's good, because it's just it's just a pioneer, yeah. Because why don't you, for example, in the internet, yeah, pick one country instead of put everything all over? But I think it's nice because we need to guess. Yeah, I think it's Vietnamese. I think this Laos. Yeah, I think it's Thailand, because at the end of the day there are some similarities, right? Like and it's nice to have water dragons, for example, not dragon who breathe fire, and then the paddy field, and then they have so many like motif, the fruit, the food, yeah, we have so many similarities. But probably for the next movie we will have like more diverse, yeah, related to Southeast Asia.
So that might be the question from Pak Eki to you, Mr. Steve. How did you manage to do the research? I mean, in particular, when we're talking about the Southeast Asia culture.
So I think the thing about research is that my personal opinion is that we need to talk to the people who live it, right? I'm from the academic world, so obviously we do our literature research, and we make sure that's solid, but a book from the past is not gonna write an online comment today. It's people that are gonna write online comments. So we gotta make sure that we talk to the people who live this as their lived experience. That's one. I think it's critical to have that. And it's talking about this idea of authenticity. Now, authenticity is a word that gets thrown around a lot. Authenticity 10 years ago is not the same as authenticity today, and it's not going to be the authenticity of 10 years from now. But authenticity is rooted in this idea, is my belief, of authorship. That's the only way that you're going to be authentic, is that you got to ask who is doing the authoring. When we hold a mirror to Southeast Asia, like what do we see, right? And that's the big question. A lot of people see different things. You can see problems, you can see opportunities, but what you see is the fact that you get to author it, right? So this idea of authenticity has to be anchored in authorship and who gets to make the decision of what's being created.
Okay, when we talk about the talent and also skill of the film industry, do you have like any successful story that can be implemented maybe in here when we're talking about the gap between the demand and also the supply of the talent, skill to fulfill the market that Bu Mada just mentioned earlier?
Gosh, I would love to hear Ibu Mada's opinion on this. And you probably have more facts because you have a sort of a bigger lens to view this through. You have the data and you have the experiences here in the country. So I'd love to hear your experiences or your perspective on it. For me, having a chance to travel through those five cities from west all the way to east and then back to Jakarta, I would say that seeing the whole production pipeline of the young student that is just starting their journey all the way to the professional that is working on finishing things for Netflix, for Disney Plus. It was a privilege to see all of the different steps, but there are some challenges. I think we've mentioned some of those challenges, but I would say there's more that's right than wrong. And what I mean by that is like when you have a base of young, passionate people who are hungry, that is the foundation of success. Because I think in Indonesia, the demographic between the ages of 16 and 30 is over 1/4 of this entire population. And for me, I will always take people who are hungry and people who are willing to have their passion meet their purpose. And I'll take that any day.
Okay, Bu Mada, how do you see that? I mean, we've been talking about how the education is also needed when we're talking about the film industry, because we know the gap between the supply and also the demand of the talent and skill. Do your ministry has some collaboration as well? And do you talk about the Ministry of Education about that? Do you have like some program that you might want to share to us?
Yeah. So on every step all the way in the film industry, I think we need the upskilling. So for example, Bapak said we have a lot of script writer, but I think within the script writing itself, we need a lot of more talents, more genre, more research, based on research, so that we see already now. I mean, it's extraordinary for the past, I think, decades, how, the renaissance of the movies in the, was it 70s, The renaissance in 70s or 80s, and then down, and now back again, looks like in the right direction. And this is great, but how far is this growth going to span, the resilient, if we don't inject this uplifting, upscaling? I think we're gonna be there all the time. I mean, what we call in the economic term is like trapped, right? So we don't want that. So this is why the opportunity is now for the Indonesian film industry, the government included, and all stakeholders to see, okay, where do you want to bring Indonesian film industry in 10 years? But do we have a sort of view? Do we want like Hollywood? Do we want like Korea? Or do you want like Indonesian way, But we believe the model, But I think there is no like fixed model in a way. We have our own industry that based on culture, inherit from culture, and then heritage also. This is something that, but at the moment I know the genre is more maybe horror. Nothing wrong with that. There are many nice one like Kakek and di Desa Penari, maybe a lot of like one of the box office in Indonesia because they enjoy it. But how long is the genre will be there? Maybe it's like, so in every, that's why I said, even in the script writing, in the acting, in the research, in the education, in the filming, in the infrastructure, soft and hard infrastructure, I think we need both, That's only film, Not to mention the animation part of it, right? and the technology, yeah, not that you know more than me, but it's so advanced. So advanced. I think earlier, Pak John, you said, right? So back in our day, maybe two dimension. Now it's like, I don't know how many dimension, 10 dimension. It's so real that it's so advanced because of technology. And how do you keep up with technology, right? Financing, another one. I keep mentioning, meaning, okay, you need investment, right? Investment, how to attract investment? You have to create the investment climate in Indonesia that attracts. So, okay, little by little now, it's happening. Maybe we can co-prod with Australia because I know the lack of talent of it. No, sorry, I should not say that. They need more, no, it's their word. So they need more talent because it's booming at the moment. Talent from Sydney moving to Melbourne, from Perth moving to Sydney, and so on and so forth. So they need it. This is opportunity for Indonesian talent to move around by co-production. And then they got experience, they can come back. And the American, the Korean, and so on. So do not be afraid of embracing new ideas and collaborate. I think I really want to underline that. The government, 100% over
Support,
there. Then if there are any regulations that need it, we already know what they are. We're trying to push it together. I think that's probably something that I can say at the moment.
Okay, so the keyword might be collaboration. Before we move on to the Q&A session, I would like to ask you, Bu, how can we foster the collaboration between Indonesia and also US in this particular topic?
I think the top leaders, the two presidents already mandated us, us meaning from the government, like there should be the next level, right? So we have the trade already, but now, thankfully on tourism and creative economy, there is something that our two leaders asked us to do more. So I think it's up to us now after the meeting last week to sit down between the official, okay, how can we collaborate? So from that, we need to talk with the stakeholders, and then we come up with something that I think hopefully it will transform into business. Of course, we don't do business, right? We don't do deal, it's all commercial, but then we create and facilitate and hear what the market needs. I think that's the start with that. Hopefully by creating the environment in such a way that attractive, the American film industry can come in big time, and Indonesia can be the partner, the natural partner. I think Indonesia can be very soon. So this is certainly our hope.
Okay, so creating the ecosystem is very important in order to attract the collaboration, the investment, and stuff like that, Bu. Okay, your question has been answered by Pak Jonathan, the one that you mentioned during the speech. Okay, so now we will have the Q&A session. So if anyone wants to ask some question or share some thoughts, maybe the one with the gray suit, please mention your name and also your question. Okay.
Can I sit down or stand?
Please stand up.
Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do? Amazing to be back in At America. My name is Melati Dewi. So I'm a CEO and founder at Michigan Voice, the Changemaker Hub. I also work as interpreter for U.S. Embassy, usually for DITRA, if you know the agency. Ibu Mada, amazing to have you here today with us. I would like to hear the perspective of women leadership, of course, as you're representing all of us, the women in Indonesia, and being part of the government as well. Ibu, we know currently, sadly actually, we know how government have huge budget for education, correct? Very big, like big budget.
Very subjective.
Very, yeah. But because of that, government were so strong to enforce and also so strong to empower, correct, the education in our country. Unfortunately, it's not really accessible for every layer of the society and the youth generations because of the bureaucracy. Let's say, for example, LPDP, right? We have huge budget on that. Let's say if this cultural dialogue, collaboration in film, or we are in the era of content creator, correct, Pak? Like every thing is become a content. Movie, visual is a content, correct? So if we are taking example from the LPDP, we have huge amount on that, right? And sadly, if you're calculating for 9 years, starting back in 2012, it's only 29,817 to awardee.
Okay, and the question,
Unfortunately, yes.
would be?
The question is, Ibu, can government do more strategic and sort of like making more program to be accessible? Because most of the seniors or most of the student which just goes into movie productions or this kind of entertainment industry always on the privileged level. The underprivileged, which is more, more talent and skill and the human capital access, don't really have the education, right educations, and know where to go. So that is my questions. And for Pa Stephen, is it okay? Visual anthropologist, very rare positions. Pa, what is your visions and missions like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now to able to contribute to the world, especially from your position and role as a visual anthropologist? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bu Melati, for the question. Do you want to answer it now? So I think it might be like your next project. You can tell us more about that to make it more like specific.
So, when I was traveling and to all these wonderful places in Indonesia this past week, one of the things we talk about is passion and purpose, and what the difference is and what the relationship is to each other. I think young people understand passion really well. It's what I like to do. I like to draw. I like to create documentaries, movies. So passion is a question that's natural to them because it's what they want to do. As we get older, we start thinking about what our purpose is in life. And I think to answer your question, for the next 5 or 10 years, I can only speak for myself, and I can maybe speak a little bit about the trends. But for me and myself, I want to be able to elevate all Southeast Asian stories on the global stage. So that's my purpose. My passion started out with filmmaking and creating stories for the world, but my changed a little bit. So instead of creating stories for the world to see, that was my passion. But my purpose now is to create stories for the children here to see themselves as heroes. And that's where we start. And once they get the confidence, they're going to be able to get the skills and move through this pipeline of all of these trainings and all of maybe the government support by the private industry as well as the public-private partnerships. So to answer that question, 5, 10, 15 years, I can answer that for myself, is to elevate storytelling of Southeast Asians, all of Southeast Asia, from the big Indonesia to the small, like my home country of Laos. All of these things are needed, both big and small. So that's where my passion meets my purpose.
So that all the children can be encouraged by your film, right?
I hope so.
So that they can do more and get involved more. Bu Ayu, Mbak Melati question was, how is the strategy to make the film industry, education and film industry more accessible?
Okay, I think Mbak Melati, thank you very much for that questions. I like the passion that you share to us, but I think you have a point there, yeah. But this is the way how government works, yeah. You need to lobby government. You do. You need with a good, well, I mean, lobby mean it's not like, quote unquote. I mean, give a good narrative, give a good argument, and make that argument accessible also for us. Government will listen. Especially, we got better and better. I hope. I mean, I would love. I love to hear inputs from the stakeholders and from industry. I think our government now also do the same. But please help us to help you by presenting data, empirical studies, because this is in your interest, right? For example, back to your point now, how can we access LPDP, which is the government scholarship? Huge. We have endowment, which is great. This is started like 17 years ago, I think, or 15 years ago, which is great. But yeah, to your point, it's not enough to get everyone. But don't worry, it'll get there hopefully. But if you have that passion to get down to film industry or creative industry, how can they access this fund so they can also study not only in maybe major studies, right? But also creative industry. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I mean, I know it for a fact because before it was very limited, right? Top 10, I think, best university in the world, 100 top 100 study in the world. But now it gets bigger, and also the study itself. We the government, because it's an endowment, is becoming bigger and bigger now. So hopefully soon enough, the film industry or art can also be covered by this LPDP program. Yeah, but I think
Okay.
Dr. Erki
Do you want to add something?
because he has
Please, please.
proven self-experience, right?
Yeah. Luckily now LPDP has a branch called for pelaku budaya ya. For the people who are working in film and cultural area. So it's nice. And then the second one, we also have there are also a project called professional who teach ya. And that's part of the, that's nice. And I want to share something. My wife was LPDP awardee, but since the LPDP has like 100, the list of
Top
100,
100,
top
yeah.
100, but at that time my wife's choice was not there because she's in a social marketing field, but she said that the best is here and here and here. So the thing is, she asked one of the, you know, the figures, public figures who are expert in that field, to write a letter of recommendation. That's made the government decided to, okay, this is the right choice. You don't have to be in the 100 list, but since it's very important for your field, so go ahead. So that's one of the.
Or else, Mbak Melati, you can just go to the at America Education USA corner, because we also have someone who will help you to prepare your essay, motivational letter, and stuff like that, right? Yeah, so you can just go to that corner and then ask a lot of questions to them to prepare your study for to continue your study in the US, right? Bener ya, Pak, Mas, Mbak? Okay. Okay, we can have like one more question, or maybe we can have like some thoughts from Mbak Lola. Do you want to say something about? Sure. Or you can also share some experience if
No,
you
I just
have like.
wanna ask,
Okay,
Ibu
sure.
Made, is it possible, like your ministry, like collaboration with many investor, like big investor, to make big studios in Bali? So like filmmaker can come to Bali and they shooting there. As we know that film industry is now growing up, we have Netflix, Disney, Sony. They can come to Bali with the beautiful views and then shooting there with the big studios like in America, maybe. Yeah, so we have many investor with the big money here
Please answer that.
because we need it. Thank you.
Oke, Mbak Lola, terima kasih. Thank you for that question and maybe aspiration, ya. Let me share a bit. I don't know if it is allowed or not by the person that owns the studio, but there is big thing coming in. Yeah, maybe I always have good news. Yeah, maybe privately I can share. I have to ask permission first, but I'm sure it's okay. But I just need to talk to him. But you're right. Bali itself, such a magnet, right? Who doesn't want to go to Bali, not only to do holiday, but also to shoot a movie? And they create this, and that's the idea. In one place, quite big studio with the nature around, and to make things simple for permit, everything is there. If it is studio, then you don't need to worry because it's a studio. So that's the idea. So I think there is a few project lined up for this person. I can share later on, and I think with that coming up, and also the one in Malang, and hopefully in Batam already, but hopefully more and more. But I think in Lido also coming up, and also Lombok, because there is special economic zone there in Mandalika, can be also potential But let me talk to ITDC, the owner, yeah, of that. That can be also, because you're right, more demand now for good movies. So hopefully by the studios, the creation of studios, it can help and grow the infrastructure and also environment. Yeah.
Okay, Pak Eki, do you wanna add?
I just want to add, Mbak Lola, is it possible to have collaboration and probably benchmarking with film festival from the US, not only, because usually when we talk about film festivals, either Europe or Busan or Asia. So I think like,
US,
yeah, for the US, because now we are at America, probably Sundance or South by Southwest do some collaboration like Tribeca. It's mentioned some. Yeah,
Okay,
it's just
Tribeca.
for as examples. Yeah, so it's nice because we can showcase the films. Yeah.
Do you wanna respond to that, Bu? Or
Great
Steve later
idea,
on, maybe?
sure. Since I have, maybe together, I think we can discuss this. And I think our embassy in DC and also our Consul General in LA, Ibu Poppy is one of the graduate from from LA Consul General in LA. She's been working also to get that, not only Hollywood come to Indonesia for film location, but also benchmarking. But I think it's a great idea. Why not? There is also a American Film Mart or something, right? Film market, right, in LA. Also, I heard it's good for marketing. So this is something that next year we are going to do it. Let's talk about it so that the mini budget that I have can be productive.
Pak Steve, do you wanna add some
Sure, yeah,
more to that?
So when I think about these discussions, what everybody's talking about is really great, like high-level policy kind of like assistance. But I think for us, we view it just a little bit differently. We welcome the help. We'll take all the help we can get. And I think it's also helpful to think about what the production team goes through, because we're the ones creating it. If you can get us to collaborate with each other, that means you have to get us in the same place. So once our molecules are in the same room, I think that's where the magic happens. Because we're the ones actually doing the work and doing the collaboration. The more we see each other, the more we work with each other, the more time we spend with each other, that's the beginning of trust. Just like the movie Raya, we're not gonna be able to, go very far unless we trust each other and unless we work with each other. So think about putting the content creators in the same place at the same time to think about, advancing the field. So we just need to be closer together and have any opportunities. Like what we saw here, like I see a bunch of amazing discussions just here tonight between different people that I had the wonderful opportunity to meet, that I've seen in the media. I know my name's up there, but for many of you, you guys are people that I wanted to meet anyways. So this is awesome, and this is what we need as content creators, is to be next to other content creators, and so I welcome that.
So that must be, I was about to ask for a closing statement from you, but I guess that was kind of your closing statement. So moving on to Bu Made and also Pak Eki for the closing statement before we end this discussion.
I wonder whether Dr. Steve Arounsack is a professor or researcher. You're not a poet, are you? Because you express so beautifully, like beautiful words into one. So I wonder, and no wonder you are behind the beautiful production of Raya the Dragon, yeah? So for me, I think, let me pull out some thought on this, but I think the future is bright, okay? For Southeast Asia, for Indonesia in particular, because we have the market. I think market is superpower. So everyone, every day, I met with people saying like, Indonesia is great, you're the market. But then next is thinking, okay, great, we grow, but we want to grow together with you. So that means come with Indonesia, collaborate with Indonesia, do something, we grow together. I think it's very important, not one way, right? But we are partner. We are partners. So with that, to the Indonesian talents, creators, filmmaker, or creative economy individual, so be proud of your heritage and your culture, that is the superpower. That's the brain behind any creation that you have, because not everyone has it. Not everyone. Mbak Lolo knows very well, because I mean, it's it in front of us. That's why Dr. Steve Arounsack here may be overwhelmed to pick which one, right? I'm sure, because it's so rich. So, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, let's do it. Let's be optimists, and next year, I hope it will be the return of the renaissance of the film industry in Indonesia.
Baik, now it's your turn.
Yeah, regarding empowering cross-cultural dialogue and collaboration in film, I think we agree that we need to collaborate, working hand in hand, to all of the aspect of film ecosystem. Yeah, that includes film scholar, film researchers, yeah, film educators, because what we discuss here, like the story of, for example, Raya, involve some film scholar to do research, so it's getting nearer and closer to the authentic Southeast Asian culture, rather than to do the appropriation or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's more collaboration. Thank you.
Okay, so there is no way we can build a stronger networking without collaboration, and the right time is now. We all have the resources. We need to do that. We need to do it as soon as possible, like now, right now. And we are all in this together to make it like better and better. Please give another big round of applause for my speakers for tonight, Dr. Steve Arounsack, Ibu Nimada Ayu Martini, and also Pak Eki Imanjaya. Thank you so much for the discussion. I know that we have to end this discussion, but you still have like some time to ask some question to them after this discussion. Okay, now it's time for me, Mifri Syari, to thank all of you for the opportunity, and I'll give it back to our e-guides for tonight's event. Please give another big round of applause for all of us in here. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for our moderators and also our speakers today, who bring us a lot of inspiration and also can bring us to more creative ideas and collaboration after this event. And I would like to thank to our audience here tonight who joined via online and also in this site at America. And also, for those of you who are interested to know more or attending our more events, kindly visit our website at www.atamerica.or.id. And also don't forget to follow our social media with our on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at AT America. Consider to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also subscribe to our newsletter. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. I am Farah, and see you at the next At America event. Goodbye. All right, moving on to the next agenda, we will take a picture together, and I would like to invite Pak Jonathan to come to the stage and Ibu Emily. All right.